What's up, baby? You checking me out? Daddy's working. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. All right, so looking at another coaching call. Supposed to start here in about 15-30 minutes. And we will see what happens. Anyways, here has been the synopsis of what I've learned in the last 24 hours, which has been very helpful. As I was kind of going on in my last video, is having somebody kind of question you on your stuff. It really kind of makes you have to not, be full of yourself. And it requires you to be honest with the person and with yourself. Here's the action that has come forth from just doing these coaching calls. I haven't even signed up for coaching. 1, I got Claude. I took Claude. I told him to look at my CRM and my pipeline, my estimating software, go between the two and 1, tell me how much money I've made in the last year, annual sales. And then 2, tell me about where, how much I'm spending per estimate and per job closed. And I'm still working on that right now. But I got some numbers, and here's what I got. And listen, my goal by the end of the year, I'd like to be at 700,000. Right now I'm at $425,000. Now, that is not profit. That is annual income. Or not annual, gross income. And so I was a little disappointed. I was a little hurt a little bit. I thought my numbers were going to be a little bit better this year. I mean, last year I think they were at like maybe around this much last year. And the reason I say maybe is, listen, guys, organization has been my absolute hardest thing ever in general. And since I was a little kid, tests, homework, when I was in like elementary school, you're just like playing. But when I was in like middle school, high school, dude, I would do my homework sometimes, and I would stuff it in my backpack, not having organization skills, and I wouldn't turn in the homework that was done. I would get a F or a whatever. I'd have to do it over again, even though it was already done in the bottom of my backpack. And how I know this is my dad would be, losing his mind on how bad my grades were. He'd try to help me with homeworks and stuff, and he'd look at my backpack and it was already done, but it was already 2 weeks overdue or whatever. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is this. I'm trying to scale a business. And if anybody knows, having a business is difficult. And especially trying to scale it is difficult. And what I'm learning the last month or so is that, man, you got to be organized. And organization for me is a discipline that I need to work on. So here's some numbers that I got. From January to now, I've done about 425K in revenue. My ad spend on Meta for 2026 from January to now is $29,695. I would suspect that I would say about 250 to 300,000 of, I would say 270, because I have some jobs. I have some jobs. I'm looking for a pen. In this number that did not come from Facebook. Okay, we're tracking here. Not that whole number did not come from Facebook. It came from, people on Google, which is not as much as I wish it was. People on Google, Networks, which is a pay-per-lead app, Thumbtack, etc. But I would say 80% of the revenue comes from lead generation on Facebook. $29,000 in the last 8 months. Has made me somewhere around 300 grand. So it's about 10%, which is good. I'm happy to see that number. It's very interesting as you spend, and I'm going to be switching tabs here. I wonder if it still records when I switch tabs. It looks like it does. Okay, this is nice. From the computer to on the computer live stream is pretty great. Anyways. Where was I at? Okay. If I come over here. So, anyways, I started this video with talking about kind of what got done today and what was my takeaway from yesterday. So a couple things. One, I'm very disorganized. Fair enough. Two, as the lady really put it, and remember, she's a professional salesman, so I kind of take it, yes, I agree with her, but like it's also a selling tactic that she's trying to do. Anyways. Her thing was things that really bring yes, they all bring value, but they are not needle movers. meaning that I should be having already systemized or somebody's already doing, such as project management, etc. And so I need to delegate a little bit more. But when I look at my numbers, I'm not making the income that I should be making. And if we look at if we take 425 times 0.20, 425, 0.89. Okay, so if we take $500,000 or 425, I should be net incoming over 25%. Now, I have a sales guy who works for me, and this is very unscalable, and I won't hire anybody probably like this again. But if he gets 10% of gross revenue on a residential job. He gets 90%. I'm sorry. It was too good to be true. He gets 90% of the gross revenue on a residential job. I get 10%, but he has to PM the job, sell the job. He has to do everything. I just collect a check for 10%. If it's a commercial job, then it's 50-50. But I also have to help project manage a job. So if I had to guess, out of that 425,000, he has probably earned us somewhere in the 150K range, 160K. So I'm taking my number from 30% to, I would say, like 15%. And that probably sits me at like 63K this year that I've made. This year has been a very interesting year. We got our first home. It's much bigger than where we were living at. I haven't paid the first month on utilities yet, but it's probably going to be at least triple what it was at our last place. We went from 1,000 square foot to 3,000 square foot home. So it's a lot bigger. But with that, there's a lot of things that are worth paying for. One is a garage, more space. First level, we were on the third level before. We have a big family, etc. So it's a game move. Yes, it's going to cost more, but it's also the opportunity that will come from that. I have a bigger office. I have my own office. It has a lock on the door. That's pretty great. Nobody can come in here as I'm streaming to 0 people. So, anyhow, lots going on this year. I'm a little stressed out. And as the year is progressing, my focus is being shifted from many areas. So today, here's what I got done. We'll just get to the point. So I tightened in some numbers. 425 on revenue, vaguely somewhere around there. Could be 50 to 100K more. Could be 50 less. I don't think it's much less. But it's just getting me started. I have my numbers on what I'm spending a day on Facebook ads. I change my ads up a little bit. I'm spending. Okay, this is the coaching call. Hey, Doug.
Hey, Joey, how are you, man?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, yeah, you and I spoke. I went back and looked. It was January of 2025.
Yes.
Right on. Tell me what's going on with you. What gets us on the phone today? I mean, I looked at Rachel's notes, so I have a little bit of an idea. Tell me how things are going with you, man.
Yeah, so just, you know, I have a little bit more I would say clarity under my belt, a little more track record under my belt, few more scars, a little more experience, and I just wanted to revisit kind of what it is that you guys offer. I've been booking calls with a couple other companies, and I'm recognizing that either now or here very, in the very soon near future, it's going to be to a point where I need some coaching. I need somebody to help me get to the next level.
Sure. And tell me what's making you feel that way. What is it you feel like you're missing at this point?
So what I've really gotten the last couple of days doing doing this with other companies is my numbers are pretty sloppy. At least the understanding of my numbers, if that makes sense, or the lack thereof, right? And so that I'm seeing as a big pitfall for me right now, and just recognizing that you can't really do it on your own.
Well, yeah, you can in the sense that you can learn things the hard way, but it's going to take a lot longer to get where you want to get, and it's probably going to cost you a lot more to do it.
Yeah.
Have you been following us for the last year and a half?
When I first started, I would watch a lot of Eric's videos. And I would say probably the last 6 to 9 months, I haven't really been on social media in general the last 6 or 9 months. So.
No worries. Just curious about it because our track record is just through the freaking roof. I mean, it's just insane. I've been working with Eric coming up on 4 years, and it's just like when the last time we spoke, if we were to work together, you would end up doing 2 coaching calls a month. Now you have 7 different coaches, and you have access every single week, every single coach. It's like the numbers have gone just insane. And like our accelerator program, for example, which is the lower level one.
Yep.
Average first year member is doing about $600K at a net profit of about close to 200. I mean, the numbers have just gone crazy. I mean, because it's just the amount of attention, support, accountability processes we have in place has just gone way up. And it's like one of the reasons our numbers are so good like that is because you can't just sign up for this. Still that's why you have to speak with Rachel. Rachel turns away on average 2 out of every 3 people. At this point, we get over 400 applications per month, and we only allow 15 people into each program. It's got to be a fit for both sides. And they're a year long, that's always been the case. But tell me a little bit about where are your greatest challenges right now? What do you feel like? Knowing your numbers, obviously, listen, without understanding your numbers, you're kind of flying blind because it's a little hard to identify. Where are you truly kicking ass and where are you actually coming up short? And if you don't really know, you really don't know. You might have a sense,
Yeah.
But you don't really know. And that's, you know, the way like we're set up at this point, you have like a dashboard you look at that's literally like on one screen, you'll see every single relevant number in your business in real time. Like you'll see goals that you set and what's my reality in real time. You can see very clearly where am I kicking ass and where is it that I really should be focusing my energy? Where do I need help? And it's crystal clear. And that's you know, that's really important. But I think your instinct's right. But tell me a little bit about what the health of the business is right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Rachel said you did about 500K this past year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And do you know what your margins were? Do you know how much you went home with, or do you know your net or your gross was?
I don't. Throughout each estimate, and I started off strong, and then I started kind of dipping down. But typically, I find myself where it's like I have this idea of where 50 to the sub and materials goes, and then the rest comes to marketing, and to me as the business owner.
So you're paying 50. You're paying 50 for labor.
50 and material. I would say somewhere between 40 to 50 for labor and material.
Okay, that's what it should be. That's reasonable.
Yep.
And listen, at the end of the day, if you're doing $500,000 at that level, your margins should be in the 35% range, right? So you should be doing about, you know, 175 net. You should be making about 15K profit in your pocket every month.
And I know that I'm not. I mean,
right.
There's been months where yes, that is the fact. But like I said, I just have not been. I want to be able to know to the penny.
Yeah.
And I just.
Together you will. Believe me, it's kind of impossible not to. And that's what the first thing we do is we really go. We'll get your numbers together with you. We go over that.
Yeah.
We build your business plan right out of the gate. I mean, listen, you know good about this. At this point, we've been doing this 20 years, and we've developed over 3,000 painting companies across 42 states and 9 countries. So we're not exactly guessing what works at this point, Jeffrey. I mean, like every mistake you can imagine has already been made. Like, you know where every bottle. And listen, some people, they want to go through a lot of time, and they almost insist on falling on their dick many times before they're like, you know what, I could use some help here. You know, because the thing is, it's hard, and it's hard. And I can relate, man. I've owned and operated 5 companies of my own. I'm 20 years older than Eric is. We met when we were both consulting for a venture capital group, and I'll tell you, because especially been doing it a long time, you feel like, you know, I know how to paint. I should know how to run a business. And they're 2 different things, man. They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me, like, what's your average job size?
Average job size, I do know that, is $6,600.
Okay, that's healthy. I mean, listen, you're in a fucking killer community. You know, those numbers I gave you, those are national average. But if you take Florida and Texas away from the rest of the country, that number goes up significantly.
Yeah.
And I did see in Rachel's notes that you were really concerned about seasonality and people leaving, but there's plenty of business there. You want to know something interesting? You know, because I mean, first of all, you know, like Eric and Hunter, he's one of Eric's partners. You know, the last module of training was all about December, because they were like, December is always a hassle because it's like Christmas, the holidays, everybody's going to shut down. And they're like, you know, we've been fucking doing this for 20 years. We can fix this. We can fix December.
Yeah.
And so they decided they were just going to dig in and do it year over year. Their companies were up in this month of December, up 400%.
Yeah.
Like they fixed a whole training on just for that month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, where you are, I mean, yeah, you have your snowbirds and all that kind of stuff, people like that. But then also, you have to realize you can also be booking jobs with people that want to get their houses done when they're not there.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in the middle of like a job. So there's a lot of different ways to approach that market. But my God, that where you are, there is a boatload of work and there's even more money.
Yeah.
And it's just about knowing. Because listen, any community you go into, I don't care if you're, you know, in a major metro or a small town, there's going to be two types of people that can jump in. You're always going to have like 80% of the guys just to be. And I think we both know that's a race to the bottom. You're never going to really do what you want to do doing that. I mean, quite honestly, if you find yourself in estimates when you're looking for the cheapest guy, you've got to market it all.
Right.
But the 20%, ones that are running it really buttoned up, highly professional companies, when you do that properly, they're playing chess against, really. I mean, with all due respect, you know as well as I do, the industry does not always attract the brightest. And there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, we target, like, we spend a fortune developing. I mean, our marketing, for example, have you ever heard of, you've done some research, have you ever heard of Tridus Marketing? They're like a big dog.
Yep.
They're like, just it's $2,500 a month before you advertise. So you literally have 7 different coaches now. One of them is the president of Tridus, Ryan Stacy.
Yep.
He focuses very much on medical stuff. And then you can really zero in on, demographics. But basically, he gives you access to their up-to-date scripts, strategies, and live coaching on your specific campaigns.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, on Eric's side, you have his people too, that, 2 of Eric's companies over 10 million. So you need that same playbook that these guys are using. So it's like you're not paying $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
And that's every single week. So, I mean, that's just one example. Listen, you literally, you have access to 7 different coaching webinars every single week. That focus on very specific different parts of the business. So the first thing we do with you is we're going to get your numbers to you. And we're going to basically, connect you with one of your coaches who's Hunter Miller, one of Eric's partners. And Hunter, he's 31 years old. The guy's company did $9 million last year. He's a freaking rock star. And, so they'll basically work with numbers with you, figure out, get everything buttoned up so right out of the gate what's going on. That's how you can really determine if you're on track. If they're going well, if they're not going well, where are they going well? And all of a sudden, you're going to share 2 years ago.
Hey, Doug.
Doug calling you back. Okay. So what I was saying was, obviously, you've access to 7 different coaching calls every week. You don't have to do all of them.
Yeah.
But it's really where your needs are, and that. So basically, on day 1, you're assigned a dedicated success manager, and their job is to basically hold your hand throughout the entire year, figure out, with you what's going well, what's not going well, make sure you know where you're at, look at your numbers with you, plug you into your coaching calls. But like for example, like project management, I mean, it's really, as you start to scale, you really want to be able to identify who are the truly qualified payments. How do I vet them? Get them on the right written agreements. I mean, this is about doing everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've looked lately at like some of like Eric's companies, but just like the two coaches, like this Ben Landowski would be your coach for project management and things together. But let's give you those 2. It's like Hunter is for training. Just to give you an idea of the level these guys operate. So Outcome, 556 Google reviews, 4.9 stars. And then
Hey, Doug, you're a little muffled. I don't know if there's a way to fix your audio.
Is that the better?
Keep talking.
No, let me try one more.
No, that's not much better.
How's that now? Is that better?
That's a little better, yeah.
Okay, keep me posted. Let me know. If I have to, I'm dialing back. But just to give you like one more example, like so Foothills Painting, 703 Google reviews, 5.0 stars. I mean, we're not building hit and run painting companies, man. This is about the long game. It's always about doing everything right. So like your coach, like Ben, I mean, the thing is with guys like you, what's really common is when guys like you start adding additional crews, is that they're always paying guys by the hour. But the problem with that is that when you do that, your incentives are not aligned, man. You put 2 guys on the job site, even if they're good. I mean, listen, Eric has 30 crews that go out every single day, 20 of which I've been with over 10 years. We're all about team building, right? You just don't have the liability of W-2s when you're dealing with something like workman's comp. But, the thing is, you put people on job sites, hourly, and they're going to be like, listen, man, if we can, turn this 2-day job into a 3-day job, we're going to make more money and we don't have to work as hard. And the way we operate is our painters, and this is across the board, they get a set percentage of whatever the estimate is. And this is why nailing your estimates is absolutely critical. However, if they complete the job early, Joey, they get a bonus because now they're on to the next job. You're actually completing more work with less man hours. So your painters actually end up making more money. You make more money. Everybody's winning. But the beautiful thing about operating that way, when you do that, I mean, you don't need to babysit these guys nearly as much because if one guy on that crew is dragging, I guarantee you, the other ones are going to be on them, man. They're going to be like, bro, you better not cost us our bonus. Now your incentives are aligned, man. Everybody's suddenly rowing in the same direction. And stuff like that is critical. And that takes us to the absolute, critical nature of your estimate. It's got to be spot on. Your estimate is not what do I think is going to win the job. The estimate, your price is your price, man. And now you might have to adjust a little bit here and there, right? But it's critical in operating in a meaningful way and getting your numbers. And estimates are great to nail that, but then you got to close those deals, right? So, referrals, word of mouth, you should close 90% of those. But traditional leads, that come from marketing, industry standard says if you're closing 30%, you're doing well.
Yeah.
90% of our members close over 50%. About 40% of our members close over 60%. And your coach is Eric's number one estimator. The guy consistently closes at 70 to 80%. He's a freaking beast. I was actually just watching, I don't know, I think this will give you a little bit of insight. Can we record everything? Let's say you want to jump on a coaching call because you have a quick question and you can't make it. You tell your success manager, they'll tell the coach what the question is, they'll cover it in the call, we'll send you a recording of the webinar. But I was just watching one recently where it was a sales webinar with Eric's estimator. And there were 3 guys in the call, and all 3 of these guys, usually on the call there'll be like 4 or 5 guys, but you take turns, you do one-on-one with the coach, and someone else takes a turn. It's like, oh shit, wait a minute. This dude's doing something different than I am. He's crushing it. So you're learning from each other. You're learning from the coach. Highly effective. But in this call, all 3 guys really wanted to focus on people pushing back on price. So they were doing this role-playing thing. I think you'll appreciate this. It will give you some insight. But they were doing this role-playing, and they have the painter, they have the homeowner. The painter's like, all right, it's going to be $8,000. Homeowner's like, listen, man, I just had someone in here yesterday. They said they do it for $6,200. Painter's like, I'll tell you what. If you're serious about this, if you're actually ready to pull the trigger on this thing, if we can lock it down today, I'll do it for $6,000. Well, it's like great, you won the job. You also gave away about 70% of your profit.
Right.
And the coach is like, let's do it again. And they switched the roles around. The coach got involved, and so the painter's like, okay, it's going to be $8,000. Coach is like, just had someone here. That's coach, the homeowner. So I just had someone here yesterday. Said they do it for $6,200. The painter's like, wow, you should probably go with them. Long, awkward pause, and then the painter's like, here's the thing. I know what it takes to do this job properly, but if price is the most important thing to you, you should totally go with them. And it's like, well, what do you mean properly? Like, it just totally changed the conversation. Because we both know, man, it's not always apples to apples. You're going to have one crew come in, they're going to do half-ass prep. You haven't outlined exactly what you expect, so you have to make for one coat of paint. Hopefully, this is showing actually getting something out or watering it out or something. The homeowner's going to be on a step ladder 3 days later, scraping paint off their window with a razor blade.
Right.
Then you're going to have the pros come in. They're going to do, basically, full-blown prep to a properly 2 coats of paint. It'll look like $1 million. These are the same guys that are usually doing the cleanup work after the person that was trying to save a few bucks.
Yeah.
And, the thing is, this isn't like a one thing fixes all. It's one of 100 things. But if you don't know how to talk to people and build the value, and you just go right to negotiating in a scenario like that, it's kind of like you're screwing yourself.
Yeah.
And so, all this stuff is really, really relevant. I mean, listen, the bottom line here is, we basically build you a plan to start from day one. No matter where you are, it's not a one-size-fits-all. But we want to make sure that you always are crystal clear about what next steps are going to look like, and that you have all the tools, the training, and the systems to tackle the next project on the plan that we build together. And most importantly, is that you have all the support you need if you ever get stuck with questions. Because here's the thing. training is not just available for you. Anybody under your umbrella. So when it does come time for you to put on a project, put on a sales rep, you don't have to train these guys secondhand. And we're going to walk you through when that timing is, when the right time is. The numbers will tell you when the time is right. Yeah. It's not like, hey, go into your pocket and spend a bunch of money. If the business is telling you it's time, any one of those guys at your discretion can go through as much or as little of the training as you see appropriate at zero additional cost. That's something we only started doing just after the last time we spoke, and the results have been insane. Because the difference between you teaching someone secondhand versus like our guys teaching them, it's night and day.
Yeah.
So what questions haven't I answered? I mean, that kind of, I think I'm trying to go over really what's changed since the last time.
Sure. The biggest thing I think that I'm personally looking for, just knowing my learning style, just knowing who I am as a person, my habits, my good ones and my bad ones. Talk to me about what it looks like with having a personal coach. I love the 7 calls weekly. I guess one question.
The 7 calls are 7 different coaches. Yep. They're going to focus on very specific, different parts of the business, but also your success manager is going to be the one to guide you through which are the ones that you should really be participating in. But also, you're going to even be in an accountability group. Like, people really find value in that. They want a lot of people. They really have been doing it so wrong for so long. They want a lot of handholding, especially in the first 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. So talk to me. Talk to me a little bit more about the success manager, and then I want you to get into the accountability group.
Well, success manager is really their job is to basically be like your assistant. They're not one of your coaches. And I'll give you an example. So their job is to answer questions, to make sure, go over your numbers with you, look at, see where you're kicking butt, where you're coming up short, help determine how you should be tweaking the training and the coaching to make sure you're getting what you need. But and this is not just some idiot that we have some manual like this is how you be a success manager. For example, one of our success managers, let me actually Troy. Okay, our guys are amazing. Our whole team. I mean, everybody on our team that you come across is not only highly competent, but really actually cares. But like Troy is one of our success managers. The guy's background, I don't know if you know anything about Ironman competition.
Yep.
But he's an internationally licensed Ironman consultant trainer. The guy's competed in 5 Ironmans globally. And like, you want to talk about like focused, buttoned up dude to guide you through this shit? He's insane. But he's the greatest guy I ever want to meet. But he is one of the most focused individuals I've ever come across in my life. And like someone that will hold you accountable, that will keep you on track, but not in an obnoxious way. Really just trying to give you what you need. Like, he takes it very seriously.
Yeah.
And so everybody on the team, but accountability groups are really where you'll partner with other people in business who are in similar places in their trajectory as you are. And you'll jump on like bi-monthly calls and like talk to each other. You're like, what are you guys starting doing? What's going well? What are you doing? It's just ways to really build a community around yourself. So you have all these coaches, you have your success manager, and then even the Facebook group, it's actually an extraordinary resource. And all of the coaches are in that group. So if you have a quick on-the-fly question, you don't want to wait for a coaching call, you just go in there and ask. But also the community as a whole, everybody was where you were at one point or another, and people significantly step up and help each other. It's a community in the truest sense of the word.
So I understand the success manager. I understand the accountability group. I understand the 7 business coaching calls throughout the week. Is there a personal coach that is, maybe once a week, twice a week, you can hop on a call with him? It's just you and him one-on-one, 30 minutes to an hour.
Well, no, there's not. The one-on-one is with those 7 different coaches. There's called Everybody Takes Turns. You go on there. It's an hour webinar. You can jump on. You do one-on-one with a coach. You can bounce and go and do your thing. or you can stay on. A lot of people like to stay on because they really learn from other people what they're going through. They hear that. But those are designed to be one-on-one, where you take turns. Like I said, there's usually maybe 4 or 5 guys on a call on average. So you have access to these coaches to do one-on-one, 7 different coaches throughout different points of the week. And like I said, if you just have this quick, direct question, you jump into the Facebook group.
Yeah. Okay, and then so it's the success manager who's kind of following up and the one who's gearing, you know, where you should be focusing time, or is that kind of on my end through some watching videos?
Well, no, it's a combination of everything. They're going to be working with you on that. Your coaches are going to be working with you on that, and then there's even training videos that will be posted on it. I mean, listen, you're going to have access to the member area where there's playbooks, there's SOPs, there's spreadsheets, there's tons of training videos. And again, this is not. The training videos are not the free stuff that Eric gives away online. This is much higher level. He's not giving away the secret sauce, but you have access to everything. So there's a lot of training available on the videos. There's training on the live coaching. There's multiple resources because you don't necessarily need coaching on things. If you just have a quick question, you call the success manager and be like, hey, I have a question about this specific thing with estimates. Where would I find this? They'll point you to a video, or they'll say you need to jump on a call and talk to them. That's their role, is to make sure you get your questions answered, you have what you need when you need it.
Got it. Okay, that's all I have for questions right now.
All right. Anything else? Where would you like the call to go from here?
Let me think here. One thing that and then you said, how often do you meet with the success manager?
That's at your discretion.
So I could call him every day.
Well, yeah, you won't want to call him every day unless there's stuff you need. But yeah, you can call him, you can text him, you can email him. Yeah.
Okay.
Their job is to basically be your concierge.
Yeah. And then the 7 coaches throughout the week. Tell me, I know there's the guy from Tritus. I'm assuming one of them is Hunter. Who are the other 6? What can I expect in them?
Hunter, Ben, Frank. It's really just about estimating, sales, numbers, Q&A, 2 for marketing. That's 6. What am I forgetting? And production. And so they're different coaches. It's either always going to be like Hunter, Eric, Ben, or the people that are in there are 2 key companies that are the top of what we do. They're both doing over $10 million a year. Or the team that's running the individual division of that company, one of those guys is going to be the one doing it with you. Nobody's going to be talking to you that's not in that role on top of a $10 million company at this moment. You're never going to have someone who's teaching you shit that's not out there killing it in the wild.
So you're saying all 7 of those have a $10 million company, or you're saying 2 of them?
What I'm saying is all 7 of them are part of 2 $10 million companies.
Okay,
that run. They're all of your coaches are a part of those companies.
Got it. Including the gentleman who do the marketing thing?
Except for him.
Okay.
And he's the one, he owns his own company called Tritus Marketing, but he will also work with another marketing person from our team.
Okay,
so marketing is the only thing that you have 2 different calls on each week. Because here's the thing, man. Listen, Joey, all these systems and processes and numbers are great, but if the phone's not ringing, it doesn't mean anything,
Sure.
So, and we're not sending you to Home Advisor. Our return on ad spend is through the roof. Like I said, we're not guessing what works.
Yeah. So
last year, in 2026, Eric was spending $20,000 a month just developing and testing content.
Yeah.
This is the exact same playbook that you use, the same one he's using.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now, when it comes to marketing, I find myself and maybe it's a bad excuse, call it what you want. 80% of the homes down here, you can't just walk up to a door. They're gated communities.
Oh yeah, so you're asking about door to door, like the door to door campaign.
Yeah.
The door to door campaigns, I would say half the people use it, half don't. A lot of guys just don't want to do it. They don't want to go knock on some stranger's door. They just do the digital marketing, they do yard signs, they do stuff like that. But you don't have to do that. And a lot of people, and believe me, I put people on every single week. They're like, listen, I do not want to go knock on strangers' doors.
Yeah.
Do I have to do that? Like, absolutely not. Eric's companies don't do it anymore. They stopped doing that with COVID because COVID didn't knock on anybody's door.
Right.
And so they got so adept. Our digital marketing got so strong. They don't need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that I'm
But
against it.
Look, it's still there,
Yeah.
and they'll still encourage you to do it because I'll tell you, it is one of the most effective things you can do early on. But you don't need to do it. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's not. I mean, I had a guy posted in the Facebook group last month. His first month doing door to door, he booked 150,000 jobs.
Nice. Yeah,
But
that's great.
if it's something you don't want to do, no, we're not going to hold your feet to the fire on that.
Okay. It's not that I'm against it. It's just that I feel like it's just a little bit different than where it is, and I've done a lot of it down here. But yeah. So
And let me tell you something.
yeah.
Believe me when I tell you, that our guys have seen everything. It's not like you're the first person that's ever going to be like, listen, most of these are gated communities. I don't guys. Believe me, it's not going to be the first time you've heard that.
Yeah.
These guys have seen and done it all.
Yeah. Basically, I'm watching and I'm implementing that will really help with go through my ad campaigns, or tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you're the one that's implementing. They're not resident tritis. We'll go through your campaigns with you and make sure that you have what you need. You're doing things right, but we're going to guide you through every single step. You need to know how to do this yourself. At some point, when you get up $1.5 million, $2 million, you may want to have someone run your marketing. But people go out and they spend companies like money, like $1,500 a month. A lot of guys join these programs. What you're actually doing for the $1,500 a month probably takes them 20 to 30 minutes a week.
Right.
We want you to really understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, how it works. Then if you want to pass it off at some point, you do it,
What about
But
like
if you don't know why it works or how it works, it's just one more thing you're flying blind on.
yeah. Do you guys go over like SEO, Google
Absolutely.
Google pay per click?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, there's not a single thing across. Like, even if you were like starting on day one, from like setting up your LLC to your website to Google to SEO, and what order to do that in.
Yeah.
SEO is the long game. I mean, SEO is great for long term.
Yeah.
But I see guys that literally in the second week they'll sign like a $1,600 a month SEO contract, but they're not going to see anything from that for like 8 to 10 months, and they don't realize that they think it's like they just purchased advertising.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So I guess I'm pretty. The good thing is just the YouTube presence that he already has, so it's like I'm more familiar with you guys than anything else, which probably helps you guys on the sales process.
We've been doing it a lot longer than anybody else, and I'll tell you something. For what it's worth, Joey, there's people out there. A lot of them are knockoffs of Eric, but none of them. I mean, like, I'm not going to mention any names, but like one of the big people out there that has a presence, they're not even in the business anymore. They built $1 million company 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And any idea how much this industry's changed in the last 10 years?
Sure.
I mean, so like we're the only company out there. Two of our companies are doing over $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that are teaching you, not guys that are just used to be in the business and now they're coaches. These are guys that are running the top companies in the country.
I do have another question. My business is starting to slowly get into the commercial side of things. and I feel like I have a pretty good grip on it. It doesn't feel, nerve wracking or anything like this. Is that covered in the program as well?
No, this is all about residential. You can ask questions about commercial. There are things that we can help you with, but this is really about keeping it separate. But basically, everybody that you're going to be working with does a boatload of commercial. They'll answer questions for you.
Okay, got it. All right. So the course is 12 months. You got 7 calls that you can join on a week. How often is the success manager? Is that like once a week, every other week? How often is there like a follow-up?
As often as that's at your discretion. That's your relationship with them. The one thing that I haven't touched on is that at the beginning, you're going to start something. It usually starts within a couple of weeks of getting started. You're going to participate in something called the 90-day sprint. There are 3 goals in the 90-day sprint. The first is the lowest hanging fruit, easiest, like 95% of our members hit that. It's to do an extra 5 to 7K net profit first month, which is, like I said, everybody pretty much accomplished that. It's 2 additional jobs. It's not exactly a heavy lift. The other 2 goals for the 90 days are, at the end of the 90 days, we want you doing an extra 6 estimates per week, and we want you closing at least 50% of your estimates. And the third goal is that you're doing an additional 12 to 15,000 in gross revenue every week on top of whatever you're doing, and you're operating at a 35 to 40% net profit. Now that number is high, but it doesn't stay there. So at the rate you're at right now, under about 900K, you should be operating at about 35 to 40% net. Now when you get over like 1.5 million, 2 million, that number is going to start having downward pressure on it because your overhead's going to go up.
Sure.
Ultimately, north of 2 million, 3 million, that range, you're going to settle at about 22, 23%. But right now, you should be operating at 35 to 40%. If you're not, something's going wrong.
Okay. Okay, so
I mean, honestly, the program should easily pay for itself just with you without even growing your business, just by cleaning up your numbers and maximizing your profits. I'll give you an example just to illustrate the point. I had a guy reach out to me. This was probably 18 months ago. Around the time we spoke, he reached out and he's like, listen, man, he's like, I've been in business for 8 years. He said, for 3 years now, I've not grown at all. He said, I'm completely stuck. He said, I've tried everything you can imagine to grow my business. He said, I'm in the exact same place I was 3 years ago. No matter what I do, I can't seem to get unstuck. I said, well, where are you stuck? He's like, I'm at $2 million a year in revenue. I said, okay, well, where do you want to be? He's like, I want to be at $3 million, and I want to do that within 1 year. I'm like, well, that's pretty ambitious, 50% growth in a year. We've done it before. I said, I can't guarantee the time frame, but we can definitely help. Long story short, guy joined 7 months in. I end up on a call with him. He's like, Doug, I'm so glad we're talking. I wanted to thank you. He's like, you're not going to believe this, man. He's like, I'm tracking to do 4 million this year. I said, well, that's great. Congratulations. You're doubling. Couldn't be happier for you. He's like, no, you don't understand. That's not the good part. I said, all right, what's the good part? He said, when I reached out to you guys, I thought I was doing most things right. He's like, I have good guys working for me, good reviews on Google. He said, I was even making money. He said, I just was stuck. I couldn't seem to grow. He said, but now, he said, I've gone from a 30% profit margin to a 50% profit margin. He said, I'm going to make $600,000 more in profit this year than I did last year. He said, so as thankful as I am that you helped me double my revenue, I'm a lot more thankful that you helped me realize I was leaving a ton of money on the table. He said, on average, I make 60% more profit on every single job that I do. He said, my estimates were completely screwed. He said, my marketing was off. He said, my company had a full-blown limp, and I had absolutely no idea. And the thing is, what we do in the first 90 days is make sure you get all your systems and processes in place. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is where we really start to build out your team. Because once you have all your systems in place, you're going to get to a point you can't do this all by yourself. You're going to need help. But you'll get to a point, once you start putting these people in place, you're going to get to a point where you're not running the day-to-day. Your new job is going to become making sure that your team has the support they need, that they have the systems and processes in place to do their jobs effectively.
Yeah.
And at that point, when we know you're operating at peak efficiency and everything's in place, that's when we sit down together and say, okay, how aggressively do you want to scale it? And your focus will start to shift to really building leaders within your own company. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right.
Sure.
Anything else? Anything I haven't covered?
Nope. Besides what the cost is, and it's 12 months, correct?
It's 12 months, and it can be done in two different ways. You can either pay for the whole year up front,
Yep.
or you can do a payment plan. And actually, we guarantee, by the way, we do your numbers in week one, and we do your numbers based on that. At the end of the year, if you haven't done an additional $60,000 in net profit on top of what you were doing when you started, we give you a 100% refund. And in the 3.5 years I've been with Eric, we've never had to issue that refund. This average first-year guy in Accelerator is doing about 170 net. We're guaranteeing you 60. It's a safety net. And it's us basically being like, listen, we have skin in the game here. We have to perform.
Yeah.
But it's not a goal. And I'll tell you honestly, man, you're in Florida, shit. If you're anywhere near that 60 number, something went terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But basically, so the cost of the program, 1 year long, you can do the whole thing up front in advance, which would be $7,500, or you can do a payment plan, which is not going to be $10,000, and then it's $7,500 for a month or 11 months.
Doug, you're cutting out. You're cutting out. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, that's better. So I heard all I heard was 75 up front, and then I lost you right after that.
7,500 up front, or if you want to do a payment plan, it's a down payment of $3,000.
Yep.
And then it's 11 monthly payments of $700. If you do it that way, all in for the whole year, it's $10,700 versus the upfront payment, which is $7,500. Usually, our guys will have paid for the program as far as additional income within about 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. So I want to do it full down. I don't want to do it over monthly. The only semi problem is we literally just closed on a house a week ago.
Okay.
And that,
Congratulations, that's exciting.
thank you. First home. It's actually my first home that I've ever lived in.
Wow.
So I'm trying to think about this. I definitely don't want to pay more than I have to.
Sure. The
Just
one
trying
thing
to think here.
that I can do is, and I can't, and like I said, it's not change the price because we sell out every month, so we don't do the whole pressure selling and negotiating things.
Sure.
But what I can do is, if it helps,
Yep.
I can break in 2 payments where it's $37.50 month 1 and then $37.50 month 2. That would make a difference. Because it should easily pay, the balance should pay for itself, just an increased revenue. If that makes a difference.
Sure.
That's the one thing I can do.
Sure. Let's go ahead and do that. I guess.
Set it up that way?
Yeah, I want to set it up that way. Here's my one request is if we could do half down now, and then if we could do, and I'm not trying to push the envelope here, but if we could do half down now, and we could do half down, let me see here, in like 2 months, the other half in 2 months.
I can do it and beg for forgiveness.
Yeah.
What they say is better than beg for forgiveness and ask for permission.
Yeah, say sorry later, something like that.
I mean, listen. First of all, I've been working with Eric almost 4 years. It's not even him anymore. I'm not supposed to do that, by the way.
Yeah.
They're even starting to push back on me even splitting the payment in half.
Yeah.
I can do it. What I'll do. We can set it up that way. But what I'll do is after we do this, you're going to get a DocuSign anyway for the agreement that basically outlines, for the guarantee.
Yep.
And you have to sign off on that. I'm going to put in there exactly that it's going to be $3,750 down today, which is the 12th, and and then 3,750 on October 12th.
Yep.
Work for you?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, let's get this thing set up. I'm excited because, man, listen, it's time. I mean, you thought a year and a half ago.
Yep.
It was kind of time to start looking at this. But I'll tell you something from experience. You know, first of all, I've owned and operated my own companies, but from experience, Florida, not only in Florida, but you're in like one of the hottest markets in Florida. The biggest piece of advice I can give you, man, is if you trust this process, truly trust it.
Yep.
And you take advantage of everything, really engage with the coaches, really engage with your success manager,
Yep.
really engage with the accountability, like really go for it. Dude, in 6 months, your whole life will look different. I see it every single day. I mean, mind-blowing shit. I had 4 guys that came on in the last year, all of whom are in their like early to mid-20s. Every single one of these 4 guys, 2 guys had no experience in painting, 2 were abusers.
Yeah.
All 4 guys in their first 6 months hit 100,000 monthly revenue.
Let's say that one more time. I'm sorry.
All 4 guys in their first 6 months, $100,000 a month in revenue coming into business.
So by month 6, they were doing 100K, or from the first month to the month 6, they were doing 100K.
One of them did it in his second month, but within 6 months, all 4 of them were tracking to do over $1 million in revenue within 1.2 to be straight within 6 months.
Okay, I got it.
So that was basically starting from zero. For you know, you should be there like, you know, in the 90 days max.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really, you know, I wrote down what my goals are, and it is to have, you know, 6 to 10 estimates a week year round and doing 100K a month. You know, if I could hit those numbers by the end of this, and honestly, what I'm really learning, Doug, is that those numbers sound really, really good and all that stuff, but what I'm really learning is there are some character things, some habits that I think I'm hoping I'll get out of this, that it far progresses. Yeah, you made 100K a month, but it's the skills that I learned to do that, if that makes sense, such as the organization, knowing my numbers.
Absolutely makes sense, man.
Yeah.
And this is about basically giving you new resources, new habits. There's no doubt about it. It's changing the way you do things to make life easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on a second. 1 second.
Take your time.
I'm so sorry. 1 second. Okay. All right, sorry about that, man.
That's okay.
They're blowing up my freaking screen here. It's like 22 messages. I'm like, back off. All right. So what we'll do is we'll get everything set up now within about 15 minutes, or maybe maximum of an hour, but usually within about 15 minutes of us getting off the call. You'll get access. You'll get an email from me giving you access to the member area. You can start digging in there. Sometime tomorrow, and possibly today, but probably tomorrow, you're going to hear from the success coordinator that's going to make the connection with your success manager, and they're going to start giving you some basic stuff to get started and get this ball rolling. And they're going to start walking you through it. You're going to have a lot of people around you, and then later I will send you over something from DocuSign that outlines this agreement that we have, so we're clear on it.
Perfect.
Just so I don't have a major on my side, but I'll take the hit, man. And it really is, because they just was telling me yesterday, you didn't even really like me splitting it into 2 anymore. This is kind of taking a step further, but I'm not getting fired, man. I've been working with them for a long time, so I can handle it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Are we going to use the Joey Burke Jr. at gmail.com email address?
Sure.
Okay, so let me see something. Let me set this up. I'm going to give you here. We're going to set you up on Stripe. All right. It makes me happy that after speaking a year and a half ago that you're ready to pull the trigger on this thing, because
Yeah.
I think you're gonna. And I've seen it before. I brought a guy on recently. I've been spoken to for 3 years. We spoke, and in the first 6 months, he tripled his business. And he said to me, he said, "Man, the only thing I can think of is where would I be right now if I had done this 3 years ago?"
Yeah.
But listen, you're a young guy. You're just getting things going. You got a new home. It sounds like you got a whole life started, man. So it's good timing. Okay, I have you set up in Stripe. Let's see. Let me just give you permissions so you can access the member area. Second, that's there.
Do you know if there's a way to, you know how like when you click on your phone and you can bring up a card?
I can't do that with Apple Pay, no.
Okay.
1 second. I wish we could. It just doesn't work that way because you can't even see it on your Apple Pay.
Got it.
All right, I have your Stripe account set up whenever you're ready. I'm not going to charge it quite yet. I just have to add the card number to your profile.
Yeah. Let me see here. I just got a new card and I'm wanting to put it on that. And I don't have the physical card yet. So let me see here if I can get that from my bank app. Let's see here.
Take your time, just getting the stuff ready for you while we're doing this.
Okay. Let's see here. Credit. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can get the number from my app.
Kind of take your time. I'm doing stuff. No worries.